The sun was still warm that late August morning, spilling golden light over the sidewalks of Riverside High. The school grounds were buzzing with the noise of students returning from summer break. Laughter, footsteps, and the clatter of lockers filled the air. But Emma Collins barely noticed. She was too busy clutching her worn leather sketchbook, her head full of ideas for the drawings she wanted to start this semester. Emma had always been quiet, the type of girl who preferred a corner desk, who found more comfort in paper and pencil than in crowded hallways. Her best friend had moved to another state over the summer, leaving her feeling strangely alone as she navigated through the familiar yet somehow different school corridors. That was when she saw him. He stood across the courtyard, leaning casually against a bench, talking to a group of friends. His brown hair caught the sunlight in a way that made it seem almost golden. And when he laughed, it was the kind of warm, easy laugh that made other people smile without knowing why. He was tall, with an unshakable sort of confidence that Emma instantly noticed. For a split second, his eyes lifted from the conversation and met hers. She froze, her breath catching in her chest as if the world had suddenly gone quiet. The corners of his lips curved upward just slightly, as if he'd caught her staring, and didn't mind at all. The spell broke when the bell rang, and students began hurrying inside. Emma forced herself to move, her sneakers squeaking softly against the tiled floor of the hallway. She found her way to her first class history and sat down in the second row. She was flipping open her notebook when a shadow fell over the desk beside her. "Guess we're seat partners," a voice said. She looked up, and there he was, the boy from the courtyard, Liam Parker. She'd heard his name before, whispered in the hallways, attached to stories about soccer games and parties she never attended. But here he was, smiling as if they'd known each other for years. "Emma, right?" he asked. She nodded, her cheeks warming. "Yeah, and you're Liam." "Guilty," he said with a grin, sliding into the seat. "Hope you're good at taking notes." "I'm terrible at it." She laughed softly, feeling a strange but pleasant flutter in her chest. She didn't know it yet, but this moment, this small exchange, was the first page of a much bigger story neither of them could have imagined. The next few days passed in a blur of lessons, bell rings, and the occasional exchange of smiles between Emma and Liam. At first, their conversations were simple: homework reminders, complaints about pop quizzes, the occasional shared joke about their sleepy history teacher. But little by little, the words began to stretch beyond schoolwork. One afternoon, as the autumn sun filtered through the classroom windows, Liam leaned back in his chair and asked, "So, Emma Collins, what's your thing?" "My thing," she echoed. "Yeah, everyone's got something. For me, it's soccer and, well, making a mess in woodshop. What about you?" She hesitated for a moment, then pushed a strand of hair behind her ear. "Drawing. I like turning blank pages into something that feels alive." "That's cool," Liam said with genuine interest. "Can I see?" She hesitated again, but his curious expression broke down her shyness. From her bag, she pulled out her sketchbook and flipped to a page of pencil drawings, portraits, flowers, landscapes. Liam studied them carefully. "These are really good," he said, looking straight at her. "Like you could sell this stuff." Her cheeks warmed at the compliment. "Thanks, I just draw what I see. Guess I should hope you never draw me when I've just rolled out of bed," he teased. She laughed, and it felt easy, comfortable. From that day, Liam started joining her for lunch instead of sitting with his usual group. They would sit under the old oak tree near the edge of the courtyard, sharing stories. Emma learned that Liam had 2 younger brothers and dreamed of starting his own carpentry business one day. In turn, she told him about her dream of traveling to art galleries across the country. Neither of them noticed that other students had begun to glance their way, whispering and smiling knowingly. To the outside world, it already looked like something was happening between them. The days that followed felt like something out of a dream. Jacob and Emily spent hours talking about everything: their favorite books, songs they secretly loved, the silly things they did when they were younger. It was as if they had known each other for years, not weeks. The bond between them grew naturally, and soon, every glance was filled with unspoken feelings. One evening, Jacob invited Emily to the local spring fair. Lanterns lit up the streets. The air smelled of cotton candy, and the sound of laughter echoed through the crowd. They played games, shared snacks, and rode the Ferris wheel together. When they reached the top, Emily looked out at the sparkling town lights and whispered, "I never want this night to end." Jacob smiled and promised, "Then let's make every day feel like this." Over time, their families began to notice how close they had become. Emily's parents liked Jacob's respectful and caring nature, while Jacob's parents admired Emily's kindness and the way she made their son laugh. Both families began to see a future where these two could build something beautiful together. As the months passed, their love matured. They supported each other's dreams. Emily wanted to study literature, and Jacob was passionate about opening a small business. Instead of seeing these goals as separate, they dreamed of building them side by side. One rainy afternoon, they were sitting under the porch roof at Jacob's house, watching raindrops race down the glass. Jacob turned to Emily and said, "Someday, I want us to have a home of our own, filled with laughter and maybe little feet running around." Emily's cheeks turned pink, but she nodded with a smile. "I want that too." That moment wasn't a formal proposal, but it was a promise, a shared vision of the life they would create together. And neither of them ever doubted they would make it real. The arrival of their second child brought even more joy into the family. This time it was a baby boy, with a head full of dark hair and a pair of curious, sparkling eyes. Emma cried when she first held him, feeling a rush of love she didn't think was possible after Lily. Jack hugged them both, feeling like the luckiest man in the world. Their small apartment started to feel even smaller, but it also felt warmer, filled with laughter, soft cries, and the constant shuffle of tiny feet. Jack worked extra hours to make sure his family had everything they needed. He came home late sometimes, his face tired but his smile still bright when he saw his children run to greet him. Emma balanced her days between taking care of the little ones and managing the home, her heart full, even when her body was exhausted. Every night, after the kids were asleep, she and Jack would sit on the couch, talk softly about their dreams, and plan for the future. Time moved quickly, and before they knew it, their third child arrived. Little girl who had Jack's dimples and Emma's gentle eyes. They named her Grace, and her smile could brighten even the stormiest day. Their home was now bursting with life. The sound of laughter echoed in every corner, and the walls seemed to hold the warmth of their love. Despite the challenges, Jack and Emma always supported each other. When money was tight, they found creative ways to make things work. When sleepless nights made them irritable, they reminded each other why they started this journey. Each anniversary felt like a victory, proof that their love was stronger than any hardship. Years passed, and the couple welcomed 2 more children into their family. Their fourth, another boy, was full of energy and mischief, always keeping his parents on their toes. The youngest, a baby girl, was a calm and sweet presence, adored by all her siblings. With 5 children, their lives were busier than ever, but Jack and Emma wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Now, every evening, the family would gather around the dinner table, sharing stories and laughter over simple home-cooked meals. Jack would glance at Emma, and she would smile back, both silently acknowledging the beautiful life they had built together. They had met as teenagers, fallen in love against all odds, and created a family that was their greatest treasure. Aisha stood silently on the pier, the sound of gentle waves echoing in her ears. The evening sun painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, as if nature itself was trying to calm her racing heart. Behind her, the world she once dreamed of, the fast-paced, glittering life of America, now seemed like a distant blur. Ahead of her was the calm, simple life she had unexpectedly fallen in love with. She turned her head slightly and saw Amir, standing a few steps away, holding 2 cups of chai. His eyes carried a quiet warmth, the kind that didn't demand attention but offered comfort. For a moment, she thought about all the choices she had made since coming here. The struggles, the loneliness, the unexpected turns. Who would have thought that a pakora seller in a small neighborhood market would change everything she believed about love and success? Her sister Amina was already boarding the bus to return to their apartment, smiling knowingly as she waved. Aisha waved back, but stayed where she was. She knew her life had reached a crossroad, and for the first time, she wasn't afraid to choose. Amir walked closer, handed her the chai, and softly said, "I know your dreams are big, but maybe they can be big here too, with me." The words hung in the air, simple, yet heavier than any promise she had ever heard. She looked at him, her eyes glistening. "Dreams aren't just about places," she whispered. "They're about people who make you feel at home." And in that moment, the decision was clear, not because it was easy, but because it was right. They stood together, sipping chai, watching the sun sink into the horizon. The world around them didn't stop, but for Aisha, time felt perfectly still.